Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Nur Qamarina Aqilah, binti Shaharuddin, and I am the Social Awareness Initiative Executive 2 for INDIGO. So for as long as I am in my position, my team, the INDIGO, have undergone some problems while we are doing our events. We have done 3 out of 4 events in total, and even though the problems aren't as big and that we went around it quite easily, but it is still worth mentioning because it is a part of our challenges of doing the social awareness initiatives for our group. So we shall start with our first social awareness initiatives, which is the movie screening of Loving Vincent. For a brief summary of the event, we basically screened Loving Vincent, which is an indie movie, a stop motion indie movie regarding Vincent van Gogh, which is a painter. So the problems that we had during this event is that there was a lack of participation from the public. The people who came to watch was literally 4 people, which is four, only 4 people, including us, which was 11 people in that whole GS hall. There was a lack of participation for the movie screening, probably because the movie wasn't as famous, and this kind of proves our cause that we should support indie musicians and indie artists and indie artists because they deserve a lot of recognition, and this is an obvious point that they do not see Loving Vincent as a good movie because it's not mainstream like every other movie. It's like Marvel or Crazy Rich Asians and etc. Other than that, there was a lot of extra food and drinks that were supposed to be sold on that day because only 4 people came. So not many bought the food and drinks. And even those 4 people, only 2 of them bought food or drinks. But we went around it quite easily. We decided to sell it to other hostels like Iraman, Impian, and Ilham, and it wasn't sold out immediately, but as the time gradually went on, we sold it like every day. Well, not every day, but some people would come and order to us for the drinks or the food that we had. So at the end of the in the end we still managed to sell everything, so there wasn't any wastage. For our next SAI social awareness initiatives is the podcast. So this one is basically a mixture of social awareness and social media because we basically post it on media as well as a content, but it is also considered as social awareness initiative because it's because we are spreading our cause. So, brief summary of podcast, which is the Indigo's podcast, is basically when we talk to people regarding indie music or indie artists, and there's also one episode where our members, which is me, sing indie music for the episode. So the problems that we had, one of them is that the equipment problems basically. So the microphone wasn't picking up sounds. We noticed it during our trial, so we had to use phones to ensure that the noises were not the noises to ensure that the voices and the sounds were heard. Other than that, there was also a problem where our camera didn't have enough memory, so we had to run back and get a new memory card, and then we had to go back and restart all over. But we were glad that we didn't have to start all over. We only stopped halfway, and we had to continue from there, not restart. We just have to continue from there. Other than that, the location wasn't tip top because we wanted to use the studio. The studio was often taken due to DCD students constantly using them for their final year project, which is understandable. So we ended up using the language lab instead. Language, it's not as bad as it sounds, but during our recording, sometimes we hear the surrounding noises like people walking up and down the stairs, people talking and whatnot, and they kind of interfere with the video, but it isn't much because it wasn't as loud as we thought it would be. So so our recording went well, even though there was a slight noises in the background. And for our next SEI is the Indigo City Art Exhibition. A brief summary is that we basically took two classrooms on that specific day. One of the classroom is to be not selling. One of the classroom is to show indie arts. One of them would be the street art that we take photos from different states. There's also the a wall art that our friend Nazmi did. He basically pasted a lot of faces onto the whiteboard, which was pretty cool, I would say. And we also decorated the room in an aesthetically pleasing way. We had neon lights, we had fairy lights, and a lot of places for people to take photos. It was one of the most famous places for our SAI. The other room, on the other hand, was just fundraising, and also part of it was me contributing to contributing to indie arts, because I was the one who drew those pictures and those pictures for bookmarks and selling them. So basically the problems that we had undergone during this specific event is that the street arts that were taken were not was not an easy fit. Well, from my point of view, me and my friend Sharifa Alia, which is also a part of the Indigo group, we had to go through Malacca to find those street arts. And Malacca Red City is actually very, very, very packed. And we had to go through traffic jams and the amount of people that was so many. And it was also scorching hot on that day. And it was quite stressful for us to find those pictures. But we managed to get through around it anyways. Other than that, to decorate the Indigo City room also took a lot of money, and it was really hard to get those items in place. For example, when we had to display those street arts onto styrofoam, it was really hard to paste the spotlight onto the styrofoam because it was heavy and it kept on falling off. Other than that, the last SAI is our is a gig, but we cannot go on with it because it was cancelled due to the restriction movement order. So in total there is 3 events for Indigo, 3 out of 4, and all 3, even though we had problems to do it, it still went very well, and it went surprisingly satisfying because all of it had really good results. Even though movie screening didn't have a lot of people, even though podcast didn't have a good location and sometimes have equipment problems, and even though the art exhibition we didn't get our money back, and even though it was really tiring, but the results were very satisfying, and I am so happy to be with my group members because they are very hardworking and they have been helping me and my first executive very well throughout the whole journey of Indigo. That's all.